Hello guys, how are you doing today? Apologize for the late starting of the webinar. We're just having a few issues with Zoom. It wasn't starting it wasn't starting the it wasn't starting the streaming as it was intended to. So in today's webinar, what we're going to talk about is mainly the automation part of our campaigns, and basically we're going to talk about average offer payouts, blocking widgets, blocking underperforming cost per acquisition ads, tweaking bids on the site level or on the campaign level, creating new campaigns, automatically scale up or scale down our daily ad spend according to our campaign performance. So basically everything that we do manually translated into automatic rules in order to make sure that everything on our campaigns goes as it is intended, without having to spend too much or without having to waste too much of our daily budgets. So let me give it just a second to check my screen share if it is on the right set. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today is the connection of the accounts, and making sure that we are connecting all our accounts properly, because it is from there that where we start to get data from our campaigns. So to begin with, we will have our campaigns data, overall data here on the dashboard, where we can see all the connected accounts and all the connected traffic sources. What is the average ad spend on all our accounts? What is the cost? What is the net profit, clicks, cost per acquisition, as well as see a breakdown of the performance by traffic source, top winning campaigns and top losing campaigns. Now, given that we start with a new account, of course, we won't have anything here, but by default, the system will show us the last 30 days. So when we first create an account, the first thing that we want to do here is that we want to go to the account wizard, add traffic sources by clicking on the add new button. And I will just go pretty quickly on this. Select the traffic source that we want to connect. Let's say we want to connect ref content. We specify the account name in case we have more than one account, depending on our clients and our activity, as well as specify the time zone, specify the currency our account is associated with, as well as provide the client ID and client secret of our traffic source or our rep content account. Once we hit on save, we move to the next step, where we add the tracking platform, and like we did with the traffic source, here we're going to add the tracking platform, and we can choose one of the supported tracking platforms. So we can connect Outsbridge, Bmob, Binom, Everflow, Funnelflux, Google Analytics, Kintura, RedTrack, Thrive Tracker, and Volume. Now, when we're connecting Google Analytics, we can have it simultaneously connected to our campaigns, along with any of the other click trackers that we do support. So like we did with the traffic source, say we're adding volume, we specify the account name, enter the API key information, specify the conversion time, conversion registration time reporting, as well as add any custom domains that we have on our tracker. Once we hit on save, we move to the next step, where we tell the system which of the traffic sources or traffic source configurations found on our tracker belongs to the traffic source that we connected on step 1. So in this case, we're going to add ref content, and like we see here, we have all tracking tokens present on our configuration, so we're not missing anything. Now, the key thing to this step is to make sure that we don't have any widget or any token that we're missing, because that will influence how the data is coming back to to our Google Analytics, to our optimizer account, because the system is going to pull both traffic source and tracker accounts from both ends and show the data in one place. So in case we have a missing token here, the quickest thing to do is to go to our tracker, update the traffic source configuration, add the missing tokens on our campaigns, and go over the account wizard by just selecting the traffic source and tracker accounts that we have already connected to the system. So once we have all the tokens present, we can click on finish, and we will have all our campaigns data. Now, in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes, the system will start pulling data from our accounts, and we will see the data back all in one place on the optimizer. So in the campaign stats, we will have a few quick actions here that we can use to manually start or pause a campaign, or to duplicate a campaign, or to edit the campaign settings. And we will see the campaign ID and campaign name as pulled by the traffic source. We will see these small icons here that will tell us if the campaign is blacklisted or whitelisted, even though whitelisted campaigns are hard to get anymore. So usually we will see a blacklist campaign. We will see an R which stands for rules. And when we hover over it, we will see all the automatic rules that are active on this campaign. We can see the status as reported by the traffic source. We can see then the budget, daily budget, CPC, as well as payout, which is one of our newest fields that we have updated from the last week. So basically, whenever we see a blue underlined value, it means that it can be edited, and we can move up and down from one campaign to another using our keyboard. So we can easily change the value. So let's say I'm upping the budget on this campaign from $1,000 to $2,000, and just hitting the tab on our keyboard, or just clicking outside of the box, it will submit the change, as well as the payout. Now, given that we have no data for our campaigns, the payout will be reported as 0. Or let's say here, it will be reported as 0 if we set it to 0. But if we have conversions and we have revenue from our tracker, the system will automatically, like in these two examples here, will automatically calculate the average payout for our campaigns. So in this situation, if the campaign is new, then we will just need to place or to set a payout for our campaign, like the average payout based on the offers that we are pushing, or we can wait to for some conversions to happen and get some revenue from the tracker, and in that way the system will automatically calculate the average payout of our campaigns based on the revenue and number of conversions on our tracker. Now here we will see all the data that we need to optimize our campaigns. So we will see the CPC, we will see the average CPC in case we're working on a smart bidding strategy or a smart bidding model based on the traffic source, or if we're allowing the traffic source to play with the bids, depending on it. We will see the EPC, which is the actual or the most accurate earning per click metric, which is calculated based on the revenue from the tracker and number of clicks that we paid for on the traffic source, as well as we will see the tracker EPC in case you want to match the EPC of your tracker based on the revenue and clicks recorded on the tracker. We will see the traffic source clicks and everything that happens on the ad level. Any click that our campaign ads receive and are reported by the traffic source. We will see the tracker clicks, which means any campaign visits, landing page clicks, landing page click-through rate, tracker conversions, tracker cost per acquisition. And when we're talking about cost per acquisition, this field is calculated based on the number of conversions reported by the tracker and the ad spend reported by the traffic source. So you won't need to update manually any cost on your tracker, or if you are getting the cost on the tracker, or if you're updating it manually, it will be totally ignored by the system, because the system will report the actual cost, which is reported by the traffic source. Now, here we will see the cost, we'll see the revenue, the net profit, ROI for sources that have a delay in the reporting of the cost or of the other stats like the Boolean algorithm. Then we have the estimated cost, net profit, and ROI, which is calculated automatically by the system and gives you a close idea of what your actual ad spend is. So in this situation, we have all the data that we need to. Of course, if you're using Google Analytics, let's say if you're using volume and you're tracking the engagement rate, or you're just pixeling your audience, your native audience on by having Google Analytics or Tag Manager on your landing pages, you can simply add them here, and you will see all the new users, sessions, bounces, time on page, specific or custom goals that you may have set up on your Google Analytics account, as well as all the page views and any conversion value that is being reported by your Google Analytics account. Now, specific to native advertising is that sometimes we see some landing pages that, along with the product, they have some advertising widgets, or let's say they have some AdSense advertising spots. So in case you have this kind of setup and you're working with AdSense, you can have the AdSense revenue reported on your Google Analytics account by simply linking AdSense and Google Analytics, as well as have the revenue from AdSense reported back on the optimizer. So along with the revenue that you get from your offer conversions, you will get as well the revenue from Google AdSense. Now, the same performance or the same detailed metrics are reported on the site level or on the widget level inside of your campaign. And we can, based on that, take actionable decisions like optimization and other like tweaking bids, blocking publishers, and everything that we need to make in order to help our campaign succeed. And that is on the accurately reported as well on the site level or widget level, on the content level, or any other level the traffic source is reporting. We can see what is the cost of our ads, like what is the cost per acquisition of our ads, what is their click-through rate on the ad level, as well as the click-through rate on the landing page, so that we can easily estimate and get a good idea of how our campaigns or our ads are performing. Also, we have the rules tab where we will see, or we can see all the rules that are assigned to our specific campaign. In order to add rules here, we have two options. Like we can add a rule from based on by creating a new one from here, which here we will get the short list of all the rules supported by the traffic source our campaign is running on, or we can add an existing rule that we have previously created. Now here we have two options. We can add specific rules individually, or if we have specified rule groups on our rule creation, we can simply add the rule groups that we want, and they will automatically add all the rules that belong to these groups. So we can have a bunch of rules added to our campaign. And why we need we need this basically when for the different stages of the campaign. So let's say we have the initial phase where we're optimizing aggressively, and once our campaign gets to its normal performance and it gets showing some stable results, in that case, then we might want to switch the rules. So we basically simply remove the rules from here by clicking on unlink, and then we add the other rule. We add the other rule group that will do just the small or the smooth optimization of our campaign. Now here in the performance tab, we will see all the bid changes, which I don't have in our demo account, that happen on our campaign, like how the performance changes. And we will see everything or every change that we have made on our campaigns, either it is manual or automatic. And if it happens on the budget level or on the ad level, on the widget level, campaign level, and so on and so forth. Every action that we take from the optimizer will be logged in the system activity here, or we will see the global changes made on the system activity log on our, so just a second, on our system activity log here. So if I bring up the list of the last 30 days, I will get the list of all the changes that have been made on my account for all the campaigns. And here I can filter by rule or manual or list type of changes, what are the affected items, and what is the status of the changes, if it was completed successfully or if it failed, and I would have to go and check what happened with that. So quite often we get asked if there's a way to quickly get to the desired results, and that like what are the rules to get my campaign profitable, and what are the rules that will help me avoid losing too much on specific days when my campaign isn't performing that well, or how can I improve the performance of my campaign. Now this comes down to basically the offer that we're promoting first, and the funnel that we have built, because if we're having a good offer that converts, let's say at 7 or 10% conversion rate from the landing page click, then we know that by having a good landing page, the offer will convert, and if the payout backs up the CPC that we are paying for, in that case, we can easily turn this campaign profitable. But if we're having a campaign, or if we're promoting an offer that has a conversion rate of, let's say, 1 to 2% and has a low payout, given considering that we're bidding a high like 60 to 70 cents a click, in that situation, no matter what we do on our landing page, it will be quite hard for us to turn this campaign profitable unless we block anything that doesn't convert and focus only on widgets that convert, and our traffic sources that we're running on allows us to block that much. So before getting into the rules, I would like to go and share with you a quick tool that is used to estimate the performance rate of the performance, or the expected numbers that you would expect from a specific offer. So here we will add the offer payout that we get from the affiliate network, the conversion rate, which is another information from the affiliate network, as well as the EPC from the affiliate network. So basically, our affiliate managers' first duty is to help us understand or share with us some campaign data details or some offer performance details. And those are some metrics that they usually do share on a weekly basis, or maybe in the last 7 days, or maybe in the last 2 weeks, or last 3 days, depending on the network, on how detailed they are. So based on the data, you can basically estimate what are the minimum performance metrics you need to have from your campaign in order to break even. So here I will just enter some data as an example. So let's say I'm promoting an offer that pays out at $13.5. It has a conversion rate of 7.35%. The network earning per click is around $0.98, and I will start my bids at 65 cents. Now, once I hit calculate, I will get an estimation based on different ad spend ranges, like starting from $50 a day, $100, $200, $500, and $1,000 a day. What is the estimated landing page click-through rate, and what is the estimated number of traffic source clicks that I will get on that bid level. So in this situation, for this offer that pays out $13.5, I would need to have, and converts at 7.35% conversion rate from the landing page click, I would need to have a 70% landing page click-through rate, which is quite unusual in order to break even. However, this depends a lot on how the offer is promoted by the other affiliate network affiliates that are working with the network. And one other question that I would suggest asking to your account manager is to help them to ask them to help you understand what are the traffic sources the offer is promoted on. Because it could be that it is promoted on a bad traffic source, or it is being promoted badly, like the other affiliates aren't using landing pages, so it will be raw clicks versus conversion rate, and that will end up getting you an average conversion rate of around 10% or 11% from the landing page click. So let's say that we have another offer that pays out the same, but it has a different conversion rate, and in this case it has like 9.8 conversion rate. If we hit calculate, we see that we need to get to 50% landing page click-through rate. Now, of course, it is hard to get to these ranges, but I wouldn't say that you need to kill the offer before trying it. The best thing that we can do in this case is to cut by 50% the estimations here and create a rule. So let's say we're going to expect to have a landing page click-through rate of around 20 to 25% in order to break even. So if we go to the optimizer and create a new rule, then we would like to create a rule that will block anything that doesn't meet the 20 to 25% landing page conversion rate and has no conversions. So to begin with, I would say that we start with the block publisher rule or block widget rule, and here we select the data from the last 30 days, as much data as we consider, the better it is, because it will help us kill even those low ad spend widgets that add up to our ad spend in the long run. So in this situation, even last 60 days would be okay. So we say if the traffic source spend is greater or equal to I don't know, $10, which could be our offer payout in case we haven't specified that in our offer, or if we want to optimize based on the offer payout, we simply switch the $sign here to a percentage of the campaign, and then we select here payout, which will basically take in consideration the payout that we have on the campaign level here. Sorry, just let me switch to one of the campaigns that has some data. So it will get the offer payout from here, which is $7 or $8 or $10. Let's take this as an example. And in the rule, the system we can say that once a widget spends 100% of the offer payout without converting, then block it. If we're going to block widgets based on 1 times offer payout, or if we want to block widgets on 2 times the offer payout, we simply need to switch to 100% of the campaign payout or more, and conversions on our tracker are less or equal to 0, and have the system or apply the rule to these 2 campaigns that we are running, and tell the system to check every 10 minutes if over the course of the last 60 days these conditions are true, and then we need to block the widgets. And this will help us to create a generic rule. So let's call this generic 2 times offer payout, and hit on save. And then we can create another rule that will take in consideration the landing page click-through rate. So let's say we want to block widgets who spend let's say at least 100% of our offer payout, have a landing page click-through rate less than 20%, and have an ROI, and we can have even widgets that have converted, but we have a terrible ROI there. Have an ROI less or equal to minus 60% or minus 50%, which means that This rule is going to block any of those widgets that have spent more than 100% of the offer payout and has a landing page click-through rate of less than 20%, but has a tracker ROI or an overall ROI of worse than minus 50%. In this situation, we are addressing widgets that have generated, let's say, 1 or 2 conversions, and they outspent should be even higher than 100% the offer payout. But we can easily switch these like conversions. Tracker conversions are greater or equal to 0 in case we want to block aggressively. And again, we can specify the campaign here and tell the execution frequency of the system, like telling it check every 20 minutes if over the last 14 days we have any widgets that meet these conditions to be blocked. So this is one way of addressing widgets. Also, when creating the rules, I would highly recommend to check the statistics of your campaign, because based on the statistics of your campaign, you will be able to understand what is the actual optimization needs, what are the actual optimization needs of your campaign, because it may happen that you get an offer conversion rate from the network of being around 7 to 8%, but on your funnel or on your campaign flow, it is converting better and it is becoming profitable. So run a first batch of traffic to that offer with your current funnel and with your current landing pages. Test various landing pages and then see which is the best performing one in order to focus the traffic on that landing page and take that landing page metrics as a baseline for your optimization. And I'm saying this because it may happen that based on the optimizations that we're doing on the landing page level, it could happen that the threshold may change and the aggressive rules may not be a good fit anymore for our campaign, but we may want to create a less aggressive rule. And that is why we use rule groups to easily assign and attribute or specify the rules that we want to run on our campaign at different stages of its life. So another use case would be to block high cost per acquisition ads. So let's say we are working with this campaign here that has various ads with various performance, and we want to get rid of any of the ads where the ROI is negative, like it's minus 100%, or we have a low ROI here while we have a high ROI here. Of course, this will happen mostly once we get enough conversions, because as we may see here, we have a cost per acquisition on this ad which is not profitable, but that is not only caused by the ad, but that is caused by how the traffic source algorithm distributes the traffic. Especially if we're talking about Abuda, it gives precedence when you're running optimized campaigns to a single ad, which brings most of the conversions. And let's say that we're running even, we have the traffic distribution even, and then we can choose which of the ads brings us the best cost per acquisition, and we can optimize based on the actual ROI or block anything that does not exceed our cost per acquisition. So again, for the ads rules, let's say you want to block ads based on 5 times the offer payout testing. So in this situation, we create a pause content rule, and we say that if over the last 30 days, the spend on the traffic source for this ad has been greater or equal to 500% of the offer payout, and you can leave this as a generic rule, sorry, and the landing page, and the conversions are greater than 1, greater or equal to 1, and the cost per acquisition is higher than maybe on a $10 offer, we may leave a $1 or $2 room for improvement. So let's say, or even 5, depending on the performance of our campaign. So let's say if the cost per acquisition is greater or equal to $15, then block it, or we can do an ROI based. So let's say if the tracker ROI is less or equal to minus 50% or minus 60%, where we know that we have very low chances of turning that campaign profitable, that ad profitable, then we can set up this rule, specify the campaigns that we want to apply it on, and have the system check every 30 minutes or every 10 minutes, and we can forget about taking care of blocking manually or checking manually our ads performance if they have spent 5 times the offer payout and haven't reached our goal. So let's say, let's call this generic 5 times payout ad block, and save it. And then we can create some other rules that will address our actual campaign performance in more detail. So let's say we have, let me close this. So let's say we have this campaign that has converted, has generated some conversions, has generated some revenue, but now we're stuck at various at various tracker ROI results. So the ROI is fluctuating from positive 45% or 37% to negative minus 100 or minus 13 or minus 8 or minus 42. And honestly speaking, there's no one rule to fit or to address all these widgets in case we're going to run into site level bidding, because if we're going to do site level bidding, we either have to decide what is the site bid that we're going to place on our ad, as well as what is the percentage of EPC based, in case we're going in the direction of the EPC based bid optimization for that specific group of widgets. So in this situation, what we do is that we go and create a site level or widget level bid depending on the traffic source. And here in the conditions, let's say we optimize based on the last 7 days performance, because some days may be profitable enough, or some other days may be less profitable or performing worse than the best performing days. So in this situation, we're saying if conversions are at least 2 conversions, greater or equal to 2 conversions, and we have an ROI that ranges from minus 35% till from minus 35% and less than minus 15%. In this situation, we are narrowing down the publishers that we are touching. So we're saying the rule that you need to tweak the bid only on publishers that have an ROI ranging from minus 35 to minus 15. So here we can set the bid to a specific dollar amount. So let's say we want to drop the bid drastically here from 65 cents to 20 cents, or we may choose to set the bid to a percentage of the EPC of our tracker, or the actual EPC of our campaign, and tell the system set the bid to 90 or 95% of the EPC, because we want to still get traffic from these performing sites, but we don't want to pay too much. So we're going to try to match the EPC that these placements or these sites are giving us, and tell the system do not allow the bid to go below 5 cents, and do not allow the bid to go above 45 cents in this situation. Of course, we can add some other conditions, like we can do EPC based ranges along with ROI based ranges. So let's say if the EPC ranges from $25 up to $45, then we have a tracker ROI ranging from -35 to -15, and have placements with 2 or more conversions. Then we're adding some other constraints to our rule actions that will take care of making sure that both EPC and tracker ROI, as well as tracker conversions, are true as a conditions in order to make the changes to our rules. Now, when it comes to site level bid changes or any bid level changes, I would highly recommend not to set your rule execution frequency to every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes or every 30 minutes, because due to the nature of how native advertising works, we want to give the ad network enough time to serve our ads, and once our ad is served, then we want to give the visitors or our campaign potential clickers to click on the ad and interact with our landing page. So if you're going to change the bids every 10 minutes, every 20 minutes, or even every 30 minutes, it's not that the bid won't be changed, but it will be very hard for you later on to estimate and understand what is the best bid for your campaign and how the bid changes affected your campaign performance. So in this case, I would like to go on an example with bid Dayparting or site bid change rules with Dayparting inside. So here we add another condition, and we can do this type of setup on any of the rules that we can implement on our account. So let's say we're running a campaign in London time. So we specify Europe, London as a time zone of our targeting campaign. Sorry. And we specify the day of the week and hour of the day of the week where we want to make this change. So let's say we're going to change bids every day on Monday at 10 a.m. and we're going to change bids every day on Thursday at 1 p.m. So twice a week, our site level bids will be changed according to the performance of the last 7 days, or if you're going to change the bids based on the performance of the last 3 days, you simply need to change the considering data from field and set it to the last 3 days. And once you have selected the hours that you want this rule to run, you need to select and specify the execution frequency of every 1 hour only. And what is going to happen is that once 10 a.m. London time zone kicks in on Monday, the rule will execute, as well as once 1 p.m. on Thursday, London time zone kicks in, the rule will execute and will set the bid to 95% of the EPC on all the widgets or all sites that have a tracker ROI ranging from minus 35 to minus 15% ROI, as well as have an EPC ranging from 25 to 45 cents and have generated at least 2 conversions. Or if you want to lower the range, you can leave it to 1 conversion here. So basically, this is one way of handling site level bids in order to make sure that those bids are fine-tuned according to the long run performance of, let's say, the last 3 days or the last 7 days, because on native, especially when you're scaling, you don't want to change the bids that often, but you want to do that regularly and on specific times to make sure that your bids are set on the right level. And another use case would be to optimize your campaigns based on or the site level bid, or the site optimize on the site level based on the campaign average. So let's say we have a campaign that has been running for quite some time, and its performance has been stable, but due to how the traffic source manages the placements, like it may happen or it has happened on Taboola, where you had a campaign that has been running for quite some time. That campaign was stable, was profitable, and at a certain point or at a specific day, Taboola introduced a new group of publishers, like it had it added like 100 or 200 new push publishers, and then your ROI or performance of the campaign went down and became negative. In that situation, we can create some rules that will look at the campaign performance and will optimize based on that. So let's say we want to block publishers that have over the last 14 days have spent 1 times the offer payout. So here we specify the payout of 100%, and they have a landing page click-through rate, which is usually an early sign or an early metric that we can optimize on, is less or equal than 50% of the landing page click-through rate on the campaign level. This way, and we add another condition, conversions, where conversions are less or equal to 0. This way, we don't wait for the widget to spend enough, or we can even lower the threshold here, say 70% of the offer payout. We don't need to wait the widget to spend 1 times the offer payout, and by having a really ridiculous landing page click-through rate compared to our overall campaign performance, and expect it to convert. So we can create this rule that will take care and make sure of blocking the widgets or the new widgets before it's too late and our campaign performance has been ruined. We have a question from Theo. Could you please talk about Google Analytics data and Google Analytics rules you can make using it? Okay, so let's say that you're running Google. One question: are you using both Google Analytics and a click tracker, or you're just using Google Analytics to track the performance of your campaigns? Okay, both Google Analytics and traffic source. Of course, we have the traffic source and Google Analytics, but I was wondering mostly if you're going to, or if you're using a click tracker like Volume, Thrive, Funnelflux, or whatever the tracking platform. Okay, so you don't have a tracker. All right. So in this situation, we can do the rules using Google Analytics statistics. And let's say we have, let's assume we have a Shopify store that we are optimizing for, or we're running traffic arbitrage. Let me know which use case you would like me to go through, because okay, it's for content arbitrage. So for content arbitrage, the rules may be slightly more aggressive, as well as the bids will be slightly more aggressive. So let's say that you have an average EPC on your arbitrage content site of, let's say, 20 cents or something. I don't know what is the target, the country that you're targeting, and what is the engagement rate of your page, but you can block sites based on the spend or estimated spend, depending on the traffic source that you're running. So let's take in consideration spend, and then you say if the traffic source spend is greater or equal to $5 or $3, depending on the outspend allocation that you're giving to each of your campaign sites. And I believe you're working with bids that range on like from 5, 10, and 20 cents in order to get the type of traffic, and you're telling the traffic source to optimize for web engagement. And you say from Google Analytics we have the bounce rate, average time on page, earnings per AdSense clicks, earnings per session, earnings per view, users, new users, sessions, bounces, session duration, AdSense revenue, AdSense ads unit views, viewed AdSense as viewed, AdSense ad clicks, AdSense page impressions, as well as we have Google Analytics goals and as well as entrances, page views, and time on page. Now, in this case, I would say that it is safe, let's say, to work or to take as an optimization objective the AdSense the AdSense clicks. So let's say we say if the AdSense ad clicks are less or equal to 0 in this situation over the last 3 days or last 7 days, then you want to have the widgets blocked. So in this situation, even when you're running on low bids and when you're running with small payouts, you can have automatic rules take care of blocking widgets based on AdSense clicks, AdSense ad clicks, or you can base your or you can lower the threshold of the ad spend and say if the traffic source spent is greater or equal to $2.5 based on some use cases that I've seen, and we have 0 AdSense ad units viewed, then block it. Or you can say if entrances are greater or equal, or let's say sessions are greater or equal to 20, and we have 0 AdSense ad clicks, then you want to block the placement, and you can easily use Google Analytics data or data that is being pulled by Google Analytics in order to achieve this action. Then you can create some other rules, or let's say you want to go to bidding, where you have some good publishers that do generate AdSense or arbitrage revenue for you. So in that situation, if you go on the site level bids or widget bids, you would say that if entrances are greater or equal to 50, and the ROI and here and the ROI of the tracker is greater than or greater or equal than 5%, and you're having AdSense earnings AdSense earnings per view or earnings per sessions greater than a specific amount, let's say 35 cents or 45 cents. Sorry, 45 cents, then you want to set the bid to 80% of the EPC, telling the system do not go above 50 cents and do not go below 5 cents. Sorry. In this case, you're forcing the system, depending on whatever on however the performance changes on your sites and on your arbitrage side or revenue side, to follow along with EPC in order to make sure and guarantee a 20% ROI of on each site level or on each site. Of course, the EPC, the earnings per session should be specifically assigned here. Like you will need to take a look at your average earnings per sessions ranges that you get from your publishers, because I don't personally run traffic arbitrage, but depending on the performance your average publisher is giving, you should be able to get to the actual ranges of your rules. Like by the end of the day, it doesn't make any big change what is the actual offer or what are the values that you're playing around. The most important is to translate all your manual optimization rules or rules or actions into automatic rules, and have the system work for you instead of staying on top of your campaigns 24/7 in order to get the desired results. Also, I wanted to cover, I hope, Theo, I was able to answer your question. In case not, just drop me an email at support@theoptimizer.io, and let's get on a call together where we can get and see some data of your campaigns and understand how we can address your actual pain points. So today I wanted to cover a specific topic like automatically scale up the daily budget when your campaign when you're on your profitable days, and automatically scale down the daily budget when the performance of the campaign is not good. And we've often seen this on different offers or on different verticals, that we have some days where the offer performance is not the one that we expect to have. So it's a worse one. So in this situation, what we're going to do is that we're going to play with the with the daily budget using automatic rules and take in consideration the ROI as well as the overall the results, and decide what to do when the threshold is being met. So let's say we want to change the budget, the daily budget of the campaign. So we go and change the budget rule, and we say if for today we have spent the spend on the traffic source is greater or equal to 50% of the daily budget. And here we're telling the system to use the daily budget as a condition, and the ROI on the tracker is less or equal to minus 60% or minus 50%, then we add an hour of the day where based on what we know and how the spend of our campaign is distributed throughout the day, we can specify an hour that we want to check this if these conditions are true, or we won't necessarily need to specify an hour. But in case we do, we can say that again on London time zone, we want to check if this ad spend has been met every weekdays by 12 p.m. and tell the system to set the daily budget to let's say $50 in case we're working with $100 daily budget, or decrease the daily budget by 50% of the current budget, or by 70% of the daily budget. So this way we make sure that we don't overspend and overcome those daily spends that are negative and influence negatively on our campaign performance or overall performance. And obviously we will tell the system to not allow the budget to go below $20, because I hardly believe any traffic source will. Maybe there are some traffic sources that allow us to have a $10 daily budget, and do not allow the upper budget to go above $100. And of course, we can have this rule executed every 1 hour, or we can remove the hour of the day condition and have this rule executed every 10 or 20 minutes. So this way we can easily overcome any of those days where our daily budget goes directly to the trash without getting us the required results. On the other hand, we have a situation where we can have some good days, like let's say on Tuesday we get like 200 or 300% ROI, or our offer converts really well on Tuesday. So what we would like to do, instead of going and specifying Tuesday as a day, we simply need to tell the system, like, if the traffic source spent is like 70% of the daily budget, and we're having a tracker ROI greater or equal than 100%, then we would like to increase the budget by maybe $100, or we may want to increase the budget by 100% of the daily budget and tell it like give the rule a limit an upper limit of the daily budget, like $500. So this way we make sure that our campaign is not going to go crazy and spend, let's say, $2,000 a day, even though we may want to, but depending uh, on your planned ad spend, you can easily specify the limits of your campaign daily budget. So by having these rules automatically applied on your campaigns, you can easily overcome all those strange situations where you don't have an automatic rule or where you're not available to take care of your campaigns, and you end up losing money, or you end up seeing some results that you weren't even expecting to see. So basically, it all comes down to how you implement your automatic rules. I hope I was clear on today's webinar, or if there are any questions, or if you have any use cases that are uncovered, make sure to visit us at to drop us an email at support@theoptimizer.io, or visit our page, theoptimizer.io/native, and book a demo here. Like you can schedule the day that you one of the available demo times, like depending on your time zone, specify or select the right time for you, and then we can get on a call and discuss everything that you want to discuss, all your questions, and get over even your use cases in order to make sure that you're on the right path, and you're utilizing the automation power properly. Of course, if you want to just go ahead and start a trial and play around with the platform for yourself, you can do it right away by just clicking on the start 15 days free trial. And if later on, once you have started playing around with the platform and you end up having some questions, we can get and schedule another call after a few days that you have used the platform, and get all your questions answered, and make sure that you're on the right path. Thank you guys for today's attention. It was all for today, and make sure to sign up and play around with the rules, and let us know if you have any questions. Bye bye.